It's me again, and today we're going to continue our learning session with Vim. Last time I've actually figured out how to change font size on the go in ST. You may remember that last time I had a little problem with that, and I had to recompile a whole ST to change the font size, but right now I've found in the documentation that I can actually press Ctrl Shift and page down or page up to increase or decrease the font size. So I guess it's going to be okay with a font size like this. It's around 18 points, I guess. A second thing is that what I was not aware of last time is that actually I was aware of this, but I completely forgot about it. That you cannot see some of the Vim, some of the information that Vim provides. For example, Vim constantly prints some characters in somewhere around here in the editor, and this and it uses it to display some key codes that you've recently entered. For example, when you try to DD some line, and when you press D, Vim waits for your another input, and it prints in this bottom right corner the letter that you've pressed so far. And my camera was completely obstructing those information. So right now I'm going to move the camera to the upper right corner, maybe even make it a bit smaller so you won't be bothered by my ugly face. And that's it for informations. So let's move on to the meat. Maybe it's even too large. Something around this size should be enough. All right, so where we left off, somewhere around chapter 4, I remember that we just managed to learn how to navigate using G and uppercase G, and search in files. So let's search. Oh, and we've learned how to search for a phrase in our text. It was slash, forward slash, or a question mark. It's basically the same key on your keyboard, but the question mark, for printing question mark, you have to press Shift and forward slash. All right. So forward slash was forward search. Well, and yet again, it makes sense because it's forward slash. It makes forward search. So question mark searches backwards to the top. We will use slash, and it's 4.1. Right. Cursor location and file status. Right. So Ctrl G to display file status. Okay. Search command. You know about this. Oh, the matching parentheses search. This is the topic that we definitely that we left off on. So what is a matching parentheses search? I'm not sure if I have to even explain this. It's pretty self-explanatory what it does, but let's check this out. What they have written here: place the cursor on any parentheses, brackets, or curly braces in the line below marked with arrow. Now type the % character. So okay, B was to move to the beginning of the previous word. So I will move using this to parentheses. This is a test line with, okay. So now I have to press Shift 5. Oh, and it moves around matching parentheses. I wonder if, what will happen if I will press, I will move to the right and press Shift 5, a % sign, and it also matches, right? So what it does, I guess, is it looks for the next closest parentheses or bracket or curly braces, and it jumps the cursor to this character. So if what will happen if I am inside? Oh, it matches again. It matches to the next one. So you don't actually need to be exactly on the spot. You can be anywhere in line before the parentheses that you want to match, and it will do the job. So let's move to the next. Now I'm matching those two parentheses, and right now it will match those brackets, right? And it does. And now with curly braces, right? So it is. Oh, and they even said this in this note, that it may be very useful in debugging a program with unmatched parentheses. I guess in a code editor like VS Code, when you have a linter of some sort, it just prints those red squiggles around potential compile errors or potential warnings. So I'm not sure if you will ever encounter such problem as unmatched parentheses, but in the Vim, I guess it may be an issue. Also, it's pretty convenient to be able to jump to the next parentheses, because in programming in general, parentheses are all over the place, because functions and so on. So I guess it may be pretty useful to remember about this functionality of Vim. So what is the next topic? The substitute command. Oh, I heard about this some time ago, and I can already say that it's absolute game changer in comparison with VS Code, Gedit, any other code editor, or rather text editor that I've encountered. Well, maybe some grand IDEs like JetBrains or something like this may have a pretty expanded range expressions, but they've certainly I'm absolutely certain that they are not as convenient to use as Vim, because let's say that you have a list of files. Let me move to some other terminal. Let's move to documents. I'm looking for some catalog with lots of elements in it, I guess. Course Linux UR. Yes. Right, it got a lot of it has lots of files in here. So let's pipe the output of ls to some file txt, and now open this file in Vim. And right now we have a file with lots of lines. We have a lot of lines with that looks almost exactly the same. You can see that all of them start with lista and some number identifier. And let's say that I want to change all occurrences of this lista word to some other. Let's say I want to translate it to English. And how can I do something like this? In code editor like VS Code, for example, what I would do, let's actually try using VS Code. VS Code, maybe code file txt. Right, so what I would do in an editor like VS Code, I would manually move to the first instance of lista 00, select, press Ctrl Alt, and oh no, it was Ctrl Shift, and now press down arrow. Now select. Now shift left arrow, shift right arrow to select all of these occurrences with multi-caret cursor. Like if you weren't aware that this, let's zoom. If you are not aware with what I'm doing actually right now is Ctrl Shift in VS Code turns on a multi-caret. Just look at my cursor. Right now it lies in a single line, but when I press Ctrl Shift and up arrow or down arrow, my cursor is expanding to next lines, and I can move this cursor around if I release Ctrl Shift. Now I can move it with arrows, and it's really convenient. So I can expand my cursor to the bottom of this list. Now I can select text to the right because I can move this cursor. I can press Shift to select text and move it to the right. And I selected every one of them. Now I can delete it and print lista list. And I've actually done the job. But also what I could do is press select one instance and now press Ctrl D. In VS Code, Ctrl D selects next occurrence of this word. This is actually the most this is actually the solution I use the most because it's pretty easy. Just have to select some string, Ctrl D, and you're good to go. Can just print write list in here. What is the most optimal solution is select some text, press F2, or maybe it wasn't F2, Control F to search. Now I can write the string it has to look for. It's lista. And what can I do now? I can actually use regex here by pressing this this button, but I can also toggle replace by pressing this arrow, and now I can specify by which with what string I want to replace the instance of lista. Let's say I want to replace them with list, and or something else like catalog. And now I can preserve case. I can some other options, like I can replace only one occurrence and do them one by one, or I can replace all, and it's pretty powerful tool. What VS Code does is also I can open Explorer, press something like Ctrl-Shift-H, I guess. Yes, and what I can do, the Ctrl-Shift-H displays all files in which the inserted string occurs. So right now I have only one file opened in this editor, so obviously it does it displays only this file txt. But if I had some other files in here, or some other catalogs also, because it looks recursively over all catalogs in your working directory, it basically behaves like bash grep. And now I can replace them with any string that I can imagine. By pressing this button, I replace them in all occurrences in all files. But as you can see, it's not the most ergonomic way to do it. At least in my opinion, it's quite a chore to press Ctrl F then you have to write some stuff, you have to click some buttons. I guess it's pretty easy if you are a newbie and you can't really use this code editor. Actually, I'm pretty sure that most of VS Code users don't even know that it has such a functionality like this. At least I wasn't aware of this functionality for a pretty long time. But I digress. What I mean is doing such a simple task like replacing text, all occurrences of some word in a file or in multiple files, doesn't have to take so much time as in this one. So right now I will show you how to do it in Vim. Oh god, that's not what I wanted to press. So let's open Vim file txt. And what Vim allows us to do is we have the :s option, :s operation, and it is actually the same operation as if you would use sed. I don't know if you are aware of what sed is. Sed is a bash utility, a Unix utility to edit file stream, edit string stream. For example, you can it's a stream editor, right? That's the name. So you can enter some, for example, the default behavior of sed. Let's change to, or maybe let's quit this file. And the default behavior of sed is that it just prints the text that you've entered. And sed does not consume files by default. It is meant to consume text from standard input. So I will open display file text with cut, and what cut does, it will print the whole file to the terminal. Right now I can pipe or transport. I can pass the output of cut command, which is this string up here, to other program like sed by using pipe operator in shell. A pipe operator is this. I have some weird keyboard in here. I think it's like Swedish or Norwegian. I'm not really sure, but certainly it's not a standard European keyboard. But I think it is shift semicolon, but I may be wrong. So you can pass the output of one command as an input to another command. Let's use sed, and what sed can do. I have to actually give some commands to sed. It consumes commands inside inside quotation marks, and right now I've inserted no command, so sed will just do some default behavior, and it will, as if I remember correctly, it will just print unchanged input to the standard output. So let's see, and it exactly did. This is exactly what it did. But I can give some commands to sed. For example, I can tell him to substitute instances of some text with some other text, and the semantics of the syntax of this command is you have to press the name of command, which in this example is s, like substitute. Right now I have to insert some delimiter, because the s command takes 2 to 3 arguments. One of them is the string to look for, the string to replace it with, and the third argument is optional, and those are some flags, some options, for example, to replace all occurrences in a line and not only first occurrence in a line, or something like this. So the limiter in sed may be anything you want. Normally, most often people use slash, but using slash is pretty inconvenient, because slash is also an escape character for some regex. If you don't know what escape character is, it's just that some commands do not interpret characters. What do you say it? It's dosłowne in Polish. It's verbatim, I guess. But right, so it does not. Some commands do not interpret characters verbatim, but they interpret them in some symbolic way. For example, /n in most programs does not mean 2 characters slash and n and letter n, but it means a new line character, which will be displayed in terminal as a new line. And so on, like /r is a caret return, so it will it will just move the cursor to the beginning of the line. All right, so let's move on. As I said, some characters are not interpreted literally, and set also does not interpret them literally. So in some point in time, set characters tend to look like something like this. It's a completely incoherent. So what I found to be a viable solution to this problem is to use a exclamation mark as a delimiter, because it also almost never happens that you need to use exclamation mark in your in a file name or on some text that you've written. So it's pretty safe character to use. So as I said, the first argument is an operation name, then delimiter. Now we will replace some characters. So for example, let's replace a username metarf with some other name like user, and that's it. Well, why did this? Not found as metarf. Why? Minus E, I guess. No? So how does it? I forgot some. I forgot the syntax. Maybe like this. User G. Oh, right. So I had to use a ticks instead of quotation marks, or it's not ticks actually, it's apostrophe. Otherwise Bash interpreted in some weird way. So now we can see that all occurrences of metarf were replaced with user, and all occurrences in a single line were replaced because I've added G flag to the S operation, and if I would omit it, then only the first occurrence of this word would be replaced. So back to the Vim. The syntax of the substitute command is pretty similar. You'll place S, now D, /V will replace them to V, and then enter. So oh, and I have to be in a certain line, a specific line, because the substitute works line wise. So now when I'm in this line with arrow, colon as V, substitute V with D, and it did, but it did only with this, the first occurrence. What I can do is same as with said. I can add G flag, which will replace globally in this line, so all occurrences of V will be replaced with D. Wrong line. again. Now all of the V's were replaced with D. And what we can also do is we can do some weird stuff like change every occurrence of a character string between two lines. We have something where hash are the line numbers of the range of lines where the substitution is to be done. Alright, so I can say let's replace V. What line is this? This is Control G to see. This is line 560 and this is line 566. So let's try this. Use 560 comma 566 and replace V with yada yada globally, and it did nothing. Oh right, so forgot to place S here. Oh, and it did. Well, that's pretty amazing. So U to undo this change. And what we can also do is to change every occurrence in the whole file by pressing %s like move with yada globally. Right, so it did exactly this. Whoa, why are we in the 6th section? Want it to be right here, substitute command. Right, so all occurrences of this word were replaced for free. Control D to move half the screen to the bottom. And I can also press GC to find every occurrence in the whole file and prompt whether to substitute it or not. So let's add C and oh, yes, no, AQL, Control E, Control Y. Whoa, this is, I guess no in this one and yes in this one, no in this one, yes in this one, no in this one, yes in this one. All right, so Q I guess will quit. Right, so I guess that's enough for now. For substitute command. All right, so that was pretty amazing to see that you can actually specify. I was actually pretty surprised that you can specify in which lines to use substitution. I was only aware that you can substitute in a single line or in the whole file, and this prompt thingy also was quite new to me. So summary. Oh, I guess we all remember what we have learned. And now executing external commands. So we can press :! to execute it. Type the familiar command, now type exclamation character. This allows to execute any external shell command. So we can, for example, list the content of the current catalog. Right, so we'll do this, and okay, so I have desktop documents, download, images, music, video, which are contents of my home directory. That's not what I wanted. Possible to execute any external command this way, also with arguments. I'm sure that. Can I add space before? Right, yes, I can. And can I that's not what I wanted. Whoa, what did I do? What is this? Oh. That's not what I wanted to do. I don't know what I have done. I guess exclamation mark ls, right? So it works. It's like shift. No, I don't know what it is. I don't know how I do it. I just press shift and colon, or at least that's what I think I do. I'm not going to go any further than this. So I wonder if I can do something with sudo here. I guess it won't be possible because I haven't opened Vim with sudo privileges, but I guess it'd be nice to check sudo ls. Whoa, it did. I can now press password and one password. Oh, and it does work. So I can use sudo. It probably just opens bash for a little while and allow you to use shell, and then comes back to the editor. All commands might be finished by hitting enter. It's possible to execute any external command. Model writing files. To save the changes, press W. File name. We already know about this. For example, I can press W or the whole command write, and now specify file in which to store the contents of this file, like file.txt, and now I can see whether this file has been created, and yes, it was. So I can choose a file name that does not exist, such as test, no type, That's actually what we've done. To save part of file, type vmotion. So let's see what. Move cursor to this line, the beginning of this line. Now press V and move cursor to the 5th item below. Alright, so it selects some text. Oh, now I can notice that the text is highlighted. Alright, so that's what I noticed. I couldn't read those next sentences. Press colon character at the bottom of the screen. The type W test. Verify that you see some arrows. W test before you press enter. Vim will write the selected lines to the file test. Do not remove it yet. We will need it in the next lesson. And denote that pressing V starts visual selection. You can move the cursor around to make the selection bigger or smaller. So now I can yes, I can move the cursor left and right, up and down, and it selects text. Right, so press on W test. Okay, so after another short pause, let's continue with this vimtutor. We're only one section. We have only one section to complete. Where have we left off? Probably. Oh, right. We have just typed wtest to store content, selected content of the file to some file on in our working directory. And now we can see that we have actually created this file. So let's ls, and now we can see that I've actually previously checked whether this file has been successfully created, and yes, it is in our current working directory, and we may also see the contents of this file. So colon exclamation mark cut test, and we can see that what we've selected, so those 5 points, those 5 instructions were were stored in this file. And now what can we do with this file? Retrieving and merging files. To insert the contents of a file, type :r file name. Right, so press the cursor just above this line. Alright, so now retrieve your test file using command R. So :r file name, which is test, and it will be placed below the cursor line. So let's try it, and yes, it was it's been pasted right under my cursor. So now scroll down to see the rest of this lesson. To verify that the file was retrieved, cursor back and notice that there are now 2 copies of lesson 5 free, the original and the file version. Oh, we can also read the output of an external command. So right, so we can do something like let's make some space here. We can :r some command like ls, and it alright, that's nice. I had no idea that Vim can do such a thing. Now that's something the other text editors are completely incapable of doing. At least to my knowledge, I don't know of any other editor that can do something like this. And it seems like really useful thing, like really useful functionality. Like, for example, you very often find yourself in need to redirect the output of some shell command to a file, and instantly edit this file. So you can actually do it right from Vim. And what you can do, you can also ls not only current directory, like with spade. I can also home my username metarf and documents, for example, and it prints the contents of my documents directory. So it can actually do anything you want. I wonder if it it will paste the error message, or it just redirects the normal output and not the standard error. So let's do something that's forbidden. Let's say ls. What can I ls? Let's see. Can I ls? Let's see. Yes, I can. Maybe ls bin. No. What can I do? Maybe some other like wget, wget, wttr, and my cdm. Alright, so I can do something like this. So I can wget weathering. What's that? And we're going to cut. I can, you know, outside. Oh. What I want to do is to redirect this code to Vim. How can I do it? wget probably has some option. Wget help. Version background output file. Verbose. Let me check. I'm not exactly sure how to do it. Wget weathering. Because I'm almost sure that you can curl. Oh, right. I was using the wrong command. Need to curl matter dot in, and it will output the result to the terminal. So what I can do is dj d3j d3k, right? Now I can r curl weathering stuff. Whoa. So, well, that was to be expected, because Vim has no idea how to interpret those Unicode characters. Well, yeah, we can see some interesting output. There's some, I guess those are Unicode characters, and what we can see here are ANSI Escape characters, some color codes, because you can actually this is actually the way to print something in color in terminal. You have the entire ANSI color escape code. You have entire table of ANSI escape codes. ANSI, that was a Wikipedia page. Yes, as ANSI Escape Code. And you use them like so. You press escape character, which is this. And then you provide some color codes like 38, 5, and 226M, and completes this command with M. I guess we can try it here. Not sure if Echo can understand something like this. Maybe 0, 32, hello, 0, M. No, it does not, but can do something like this. No. How to do it? Bash ANSI Escape. I'm not sure that's. Oh right, escape code. I forgot how to escape it. So you have to precede those opening bracket with /033, which is the code, which is the encoding of the escape character. So you can do something like this, but precede them with 033, and now let's see without those flags. Right now it does not interpret those flags because the echo command by default interprets every character literally, but we can tell him to interpret those symbolically by saying NE, and we have a colorful output. We can also see how to, let's say, write some text in bold. Oh, rapid blink, that will be pretty cool, which is code 6. So say 6. Oh yes, and it's blinking. What can I also do? Fractal rotate, doubly underlined, normal intensity, black letter, conceal or hide, crossed out, bold. Oh, let's use bold. Alright, so now it's bold. So those are ANSI escape codes, and those are widely supported in terminals. It is actually how the terminal interprets, displays some text in color. For example, this message, this prompt. If I'm not mistaken, I can actually see how this prompt is formatted by it should be stored in PS1. Yes. So what I've done is I've used echo to print the system variable PS1, which stores and the $sign is the reference of this. So I get the value of the variable PS1, and what is inside this variable is the character encoding, is the string that encodes this message, this prompt. So we have Debian chroot, now then is colon. What we have here, there's 0132M, which is bold and the green color, so I guess it's this. Then is at sign, which is probably alright, so u is user, /h is at sign is this at here, /h is host, so the name of my computer, and then we are entering 0M, so we are disabling the coloring of those the next string, and the next character to display is colon, and it's this colon over here. And then we want to print current working directory, which is /w, and it needs to be bold, and 34 is, it should be blue. It 32 set foreground color, and 34 is blue, right? So it checks out. Then we print current working directory, disable the coloring, and print $, which is my prompt. All right, so that was pretty long tangent. I've not intended to make it this long, so let's remove this junk. Proceed to the next lesson. But in conclusion, I have to admit that I'm pretty amazed by the capabilities of Vim. I had no idea that it's such a that it can do such so advanced things, like actually running some shell commands and even intercept the output of those commands. That's pretty amazing and very useful. So the summary, yeah, we already know about this. And now is the sixth section, open command. Type O to open the line below the cursor and place you in insert mode. Alright, so let's do this. Move the cursor to the first line below marked. Type lowercase o, so up a line below the cursor and place you in insert mode. So let's do this. Now type some text. Some text. Escape to exit. Right, so this O command is actually pretty useful, because it allows you to start writing in a new line. Actually, I think it creates a new paragraph, but I'm not sure. For sure, it makes a new line. And not only and it doesn't have to be the line below the cursor. You can also tell them to insert to a line above the cursor by, as you have probably guessed already, Shift O and the uppercase O, like so. Now I can write something right over here, then press lowercase o and right below, uppercase O and write something. So yes, that's pretty useful command. I use it a lot. Even I use it quite a lot, even if I'm not actually a Vim user. I'm pretty much a noob in using Vim. Oh, right. So they've actually told about using capital O rather than lowercase o. Also, I won't be doing the same thing twice. The append command is next, and this is something I've already mentioned in the previous episode, but to refresh your memory, you can append text. You can immediately start appending text to the end of the line, or to the next character, after the next character, after the cursor. So to start inserting text after the cursor, you press lowercase a, and I can now write something to the right of this to word, or I can press Shift A, which will teleport me to the end of the line and insert and start insert mode. So right now I can write something in the end of the line. So right, so actually let's do what they want me to do. So they want me to move the cursor to the start of the first line below mark. Press E until the cursor is on the end of the li. Now type A. So we complete the word line. Complete the word, press escape, and now move to the next word. Practice. Practice, not practice. E, and text to line. Now I can move to the next line and press uppercase A to start writing after at the end of the line. Right, so that's it. The only difference is where the character uninserted. And there's another way to replace. We're already familiar with lowercase r command, which is can place our cursor over some character and replace it. For example, this A we can replace by using lowercase r with I don't know, letter H, for example. Now I can move the cursor. We can use R to replace more than one character. Back then we've used CE, if I'm not mistaken. Like, yes, we've moved the cursor to the beginning of the word, press CE and complete, for example. Right, so so I guess R, capital R, will allow us to do something similar. Yeah, well, let's see. Move the cursor to the first line below marked. And move the cursor to the beginning of the first 3 X's. Press R and type the number below it in the second line. Right, so capital R, 4, 5, oh. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So now let's move to the next. 5, 7, 9. Alright, so this is amazing. This is way better than using C, because using C we have to use the motion command, which in some situation I imagine would be pretty it would be quite a chore. But using R seems like way easier way to replace some larger chunks of text, like entire words, for example. So now is copy and paste text, and we use it for some reason with Y operator and not C, like copy, but Y like what? Like yank. Alright, so alright, so then they've chosen yank. Okay. Move down the line below marked with arrow and place the cursor after A. Let's do this. After A, start visual mode with V and move the cursor to just before first. Type yank, Y to yank to highlight the text. Move the cursor to the next outline Y using $J. To the end of the next line. Alright, so J and dollar. Nice. Press put to paste the text. Then type a second escape. Alright. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Now P, then press A, second. Right, so I have to complete this whole line. Now use visual to select item. So K, V, E, Y, J, end of the line with $sign, P, and A and dot. Right, so that's not exactly what I wanted. What I wanted was to move up E, W, V, right before, so H on the space, cursor on the space, V, now $sign to select the end of line, Y, J, $sign P. Alright, so but it also copied the end of line, because as you can see, I'm adding a new line after this line. That's not what I want to do. So let's try this again. Just V. Right, so V, Y, J, $P. Right, that's what I wanted to do. You can also use Y as an operator. Y word yanks one word, Y yanks a whole line, and P puts that line. Right, so let's try this Y, W. Let's yank first. Alright, so it works. And what if I am inside some word? Yank word. Alright, so it yanks to the right. Well, I guess I can force him to yank the entire word by using yank E to yank the inside of the whole word, and W to yank the word. Now paste it, and yes, it works. So once again, it's the same as with C and with D. You can actually combine the operation with motions and with specifiers like I and A. So what's next? Set option. Set an option, so a search or substitute ignore case. Search for ignore by entering ignore. Right. Several times by pressing N. Set IC option by entering set IC. And now if I oh ooh, so that's okay, so set actually sets some options in Vim. In this case I'm telling Vim to ignore case while searching, so I by default it looks only for the exact matches, so how I go back to the previous setting. Oh, set no IC. So set no IC. If I look for string ignore, you can see that I don't get a match with this ignore or with this ignore. So if I want to, but if I set the set ignore case, suddenly I get matches with those ignores, even if the whole word is an uppercase. Now there are some other options like HL search and ink search. What is HL search? Let's see. Set HLS IS. Whoa. Now that's something new. So HL search is short for highlight search, I guess. And incremental search is looking for it's just like looking forward, probably. To disable ignore case, just enter set no IC. So set no IC, right? And now only those are matched. To remove the highlighting of matches, enter no HL search. But can I just I set it by using HLS? Can I disable it with no HLS? Yes, I can. So I can also use the short version of this option. Oh, if you want to ignore case just for one option, use /c. The phrase. So I'm going to use ignore /c. Alright, so it works. So I can add flags not only to such commands like substitute and s, but also to search. Okay, so that's like disable the set or no chance. Summary. Right, getting help. Online help system. To get started, try one of these. Press help key if you have one. I don't. Press F1 key if you have one. Oh yes, I have. And it opens a new command with. So it opens a new tab with some most, I guess, something like Q&A. Oh, it's a whole manual. Cool. Clever tricks. And is it a hypertext? Can I move to this by using a link? How can I do this? Getting started. Use J, Q, set mode A, jump, double click on a tag, position the cursor under a control minus the control and bracket. Alright, so control bracket using syntax highlighting, for example, control bracket, and control O to go back. Control bracket, control, it's right bracket, and control O, go back. Alright, so, and I can, okay, so this is a manual. I tried by using pressing F1 on a keyboard or typing help. Okay, so let's exit this tab by pressing Ctrl Q, or I use ZQ, uppercase Z, uppercase Q. Okay, so what can I do? I can find commands on any help on any subject, like help. Oh, so that's nice. Alright, so Q. And what's next? Create a startup script. Also, they tell you right here how to configure vimrc. Vimrc is a config file for Vim. It's stored in your home directory. Like I can open it here, cd to home directory, and you can see it right here. You have the .vimrc. So vim.vimrc, and this is the file where you specify commands that Vim runs on a startup. So for example, I use I've actually inserted some comments here to know exactly what those settings do. For example, set bg equals dark, sets contrast for your font. So if you set background to be dark, the fonts of your colors will be lighter, and if you set background to light, your font would be darker, right? To ensure the contrast of your font is correct. Then you can specify what indentation would you use. I use one tab equals 2 spaces. Auto, I have enabled auto indentation and also smart indentation, which I do not exactly know what it is. Line wrap, spaces instead of tabs, and highlighting search results. And also syntax highlighting. So, and this is some weird option that enables you to copy text from Vim to other programs, because by default Vim has its own copy registers. So in other words, it stores copied text that you've copied inside Vim editor to inside Vim. So you cannot copy something inside Vim and paste it in, for example, Firefox. You can use it, you can enable it by setting its clipboard, so the place where copied text is stored to unnamed class, but I don't know why. I have not yet figured out why, but it does not work on my machine, so I have to dig deeper into this. But anyway, this is the vimrc. You can edit this file. It's stored inside your home directory probably, and that's it. And that's all what I know about the vimrc, and vimtutor does not tell much more about it anyway. Oh, but you can find more info about this by typing help vimrc intro. So, oh right, so this is like a whole document on how to edit your vimrc, how to use different what settings it does what, and so on. Oh, this is so interesting. Setting, you can actually remap your bindings. For example, you may remap your copy pasting from Y like yanking and P like paste to Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. That's rather ill-advised, because Ctrl+V is actually already used in Vim for visual mode, for highlighting and for selecting text. But you can do it if you want. Now completion, command line completion with Ctrl+D and Tab. Right, so that's something that would be pretty nice to use, right? Code completion is something that really makes your job much easier in other code editors, and I haven't yet figured out how to use code completion in Vim. So how to do it? Make sure Vim is not in compatible mode. Set no CP. Oh, and for those who do not know what code completion is, it's basically, well, it's pretty obvious what it does by the name. You can probably inference it from the name, but whenever you type, a small window should appear beside your cursor, and there would be a list of some keywords of, for example, C++ language that matches to the characters that you've already written. So, for example, if you write MA, then a code completion would suggest you to complete this line with to main, like main function or something like this. So look what files exist in the directory. Alright, so let's okay, start the start of the command E. Press Ctrl+D, and Vim will show a list of commands that start with E. Oh, so okay, and D tab will complete the command name to edit. Actually, I can type well, wait, I think I've broken something. Type the start of command E. Press Ctrl+D and then we'll show a list. Press D tab. Oh right, it will complete the name to the edit. So command line completion is with Ctrl+D and tab. So it's not the completion that I would want. So add space, and now if I press tab, I can scroll through all files, all catalogs in my current document, current working directory. So, for example, file.txt or test. Oh, by using Shift tab, you can move backwards. By using tab, you can scroll forward. Shift tab to go back, forward, tab to go forward. And press enter to edit it. Alright, so I want to it anyway. We'll complete the name. Lesson 7 summary. And that's all of it. So it's not the completion that I was thinking about. I was thinking about code completion and not command completion. So code completion is probably some external feature that you would have to enable by installing some Vim plugin. But I'm pretty sure that you can use Shift. No, it was Control N or Alt N. No, it was some weird key combination which actually enabled code completion. Let me see. Let's exit this file because we've already finished the vimtutor. Let's, for example, write some main.c. Let's include std. And what can I? Keyword completion stdi o.h. Now int. Oh, right. So it was Control N. You have to press Control N to complete. You can move, and it displays some oddly pinkish list of keywords that you can use. I'm pretty sure you can somehow change the color, change the look of this. Scroll with mouse. Now, of course, you can. But if I press no, main not int main, maybe int, let's see if it will complete argc. That's in the car argv. No, but it's C that somewhere else in my document is a variable argc, so it will complete. Well, I want argv here. Now, open curly braces. See. Print hello. Oh, I wonder if it will complete print. Yes, it will complete print. Hello world, new line. And return. Oh, it also return 0. It also shows you from which. Does it show from which file does a character comes from? And like, let's say we will include math.h. I think it was math.h. And now let's try to insert the print some number and sign. Oh yes, it shows from which file which knows from which file which function comes from. So the sign function returns a sign of the number, and it comes from user include math. It's not ideal because I cannot see what is the signature of this function. For example, in VSCode, I can actually see that the signature of this sign function is probably that it takes a int argument and returns also an int or unsigned int. I'm not exactly sure. But what can I maybe cosine, maybe pov, no, so positive. SQRT maybe will be inside. Yes, SQRT is inside module include user include math.h. Right, so there is some basic support for code completion in Vim, even out of the box, but it's not ideal, as you can see. I guess you can install some plugin. I think that Clang has some plugin for Vim, and also NeoVim for sure. And I may be interested in installing it in the future because I code in C and C++ pretty often, so I guess. And Vim is actually, I'm actually getting pretty interested in using Vim as my day-to-day editor. It seems like a pretty good alternative. Especially if I would spend some more time to become accustomed to it, to become fluent with using it. So yeah, I think that's it for today, for today's session. I guess I've already said the entire conclusion, the all thoughts that I have after today's lesson. So I hope that you had a good time learning them with me. I certainly did, and I hope that if someone wants me to do some to learn something or propose me some topic to check out, or some I don't know, piece of tech to make a video about, then I'll be glad to do it. So don't be a stranger and write this in comments, at least if anyone even watches those videos. So thank you for today, and have a good evening. See ya.